Alrighty, it's finally time for me to actually take a swing at the Spider-Man set. So every time we get a new set, I try to have a video out within about a week of the set coming out, basically going over all the different cards in the set that are $1-ish or under. That way you know which cards we need to be looking for instead of buying booster boxes, because those, well, those are really expensive, and it makes way more sense, like infinitely more sense, to actually spend money on really, really inexpensive cards. Otherwise, this hobby just gets way too expensive. So let's continue working on budget cards and let's see what we've got available to us. I've made the unfortunate mistake of making all fan art canon, and you guys used that to make a ton of doppelgangers of me that try to ruin my life. So why not go ahead and celebrate that cacophony by picking up the new channel playmat over on 4th Wall. When you pick up the playmat, take a picture and throw it up on social media tagging me so I can feature you in a future video. Thank you so much, and let's get back to the video. Now, normally I would take a moment to talk about the commanders in the set as part of the breakdown, but I'm not doing that this time because holy crap, there are way too many commanders in this set. I can't. This is like Kamigawa levels of legendary creatures, and I'm just not screwing with it. It's not really that worth it to me at all. So we'll start out with some cards that are really good for blink decks. Daily Bugle Reporters is able to give us a little bit of graveyard recursion if we are able to blink it. Hide in the Ceiling is a new multi-blink card, and the Spot can turn blinking into removal without any real downside. He also allows us to get rid of cards from any graveyard as well as cards that are on the board so long as they aren't lands. Honestly, pretty powerful card, and it looks like it was meant originally to be a card that, you know, would come out and die and then would give the cards back to their opponents, but we're not gonna be doing that. Absolutely not. That is not what we are doing. Look at what's written on this thing. We are just gonna ignore all that and blink it over and over again, and by doing that, we're gonna make sure that nobody gets anything they want except us. Then for clone decks, we have Jackal Geneticist. This is kind of a Vorlo-style card, or Volo-style card from Dungeons & Dragons. So if you have cards that have different power and toughness and you can scale them up, then you can get lots of clones out of this card. And then, of course, we have the Clone Saga. This is able to make a non-legendary copy of any card, but only really once. If you're able to manipulate this with Proliferate, though, or stripping counters from cards, you're gonna have a really fun time with this. And then, of course, we have Spider-Verse. Anytime we cast a spell from anywhere other than our hand, we can copy it. Play this in decks that use like Atali and stuff like that, because having multiple copies of that is just kind of nuts. And yeah, that goes for both kinds of Atali. Both of them are going to absolutely adore this card. It's just kind of nutty for any deck that has a commander that has an attack trigger and also an enter the battlefield trigger. I think for $1.14, I can find a way to fit this into Kefka, because that will effectively give me minimum 3 Kefka triggers in the turn it comes out. That's just... Then, of course, we have plenty of cards that can draw us cards in various ways, and I'll briefly go over a lot of them. Gallant Citizen allows us to draw cards when it ETBs. This is your standard, hey, I would like to play this in a blink deck card. And then we have Green Goblin Revenant. This gives us the ability to draw cards for every card we've discarded during a turn. Play this in a deck that likes lots of wheels and runs Reanimate, and you're going to find yourself with a huge hand. Heroes Hangout is Impulse draw for the turn. Pictures of Spider-Man is Creature draw for the turn. Spider gives you a lot of draw if you've got modified creatures. Rent is Due allows you to tap things in order to gain draw power, but only at the beginning of your end step. This is honestly not as powerful as other draw spells, but it's only 1 mana, so it's pretty easy to just abuse. Then we have Parker Luck, which is the Bob of the set, allowing us to get card draw, and it's really good for group slug decks. because even though we take burn from this, we can also make sure that our opponents get burned as well. Romantic Rendezvous is your usual discard a card, draw 2 cards. It's in a lot of sets. Risky Research is your power creep of Read the Bones. Rhino Barreling Brute's a commander that allows you to draw cards if you've casted big things. Unstable Experiment gives you draw and then also gives you connive. Craven the Hunter will give you draw based on killing things. Then we have Heart of the Spider here, which allows you to draw if you swing with modified creatures. Not unlike Penny, but definitely in different colors. Then we have the Symbiote Spider-Man, which allows us to get card selection if we can deal combat damage to people. Shadow of the Goblin, which will give us the ability to get a lot of rummaging throughout a game. Agent Venom, which is your Grim Haruspex of the set. I do like Grim Haruspex, so I'm happy to see this here, not gonna lie. Then we have Iron Spider. We can tap this to put a 1/1 counter on all of our artifacts or creatures, but we can also pay mana to remove 1/1 counters from cards in order to draw cards so long as they're artifacts. So if you are playing a modular deck or a modified deck, then this thing's gonna be doing a lot of work for you. Your go wide decks will enjoy cards like J. Jonah Jameson, because if you can get Menace on a bunch of your creatures, then that will give you a lot of treasures. Spider-Man India has web slinging, so we can reuse ETB effects, but also this allows us to put 1/1 counters on creatures and give them flying until end of turn anytime we cast creature spells. If you have this in a Selesnya Humans deck, this can grant flying to a lot of those cards pretty quickly and pretty consistently. Then we have Silk Web Weaver. It's got web slinging as well, and it makes tokens when we cast creature spells. Use it in the same decks you would put Spider-Man India in. Then we have Scarlet Spider Ben Riley, and this card has web slinging. We could cast the spell by throwing a thing from our board into our hand, and if it was cast with web slinging, it gets a lot of 1/1 counters if that thing had a big mana value. Use this in any deck that really wants to cheat out big mana value cards, and then you can swing in with Voltron damage for really cheap, like incredibly cheap. It almost makes up for the fact that this set kind of sucks. Then we have something I absolutely adore for landfall decks. We have Sandman Shifting Scoundrel. For 3 mana, you get the quintessential. This card is able to be the power of lands you have combined, and it's also very hard to block. We have some protection spells with Secret Identity to give hexproof really quickly, and Strength of Will in order to throw Indestructible on a single creature, and then give it a ton of 1/1 counters if it's being hit by, say, a Blasphemous Act or something. Then we have just some goofy shit. We have Spider Rex Daring Dino, and yeah, I get it. This thing is just Colossal Dreadmaw. It really is. It's just Colossal Dreadmaw, but I promise you that's good. I promise you, you're gonna love what we're gonna do with this in a later video, because as far as I'm concerned, this thing being Colossal Dreadmaw is perfectly fine. Because if it's Colossal Dreadmaw, then we can just build a deck with a ton of Colossal Dreadmaws that have come out over the course of Magic the Gathering's lifespan. And you know what? There's nothing more fun than just throwing Colossal Dreadmaws at people if you like big numbers. I promise you, if you don't like that, then you just need to stop playing this game. I'm sorry. Go play a different card game if you don't like Colossal Dreadmaw. Then we have some ramp spells that are pretty decent in this set. Hawk Dog Cart will give us a food token, so run it as a ramp spell in food decks. Interdimensional Web Watch is an impulse draw mixed with being a Hedron Archive, so it's pretty decent for that. Spider-Man Brooklyn Visionary is a Farhaven elf that can reset any of our ETBs. Spider Manifestation is a very, very abusable card. Anytime you cast a spell with mana value 4 or greater, untap this creature. Tap it to add a red or a green. Now, you may be wondering, what is this doing? What is the purpose of this card? And I'm gonna go ahead and let you know exactly why this thing is broken. It's not that we needed more ways to break Animar Soul of the Elements, but the fact that this thing discounts our cards a ton, and then we can just abuse those cards to the nines by using Spider Manifestation, we're going to be able to cast cards with mana value 4 or greater very often with this thing, and Animar absolutely adores seeing a ton of things being cast. Its only problem is it cannot discount colored mana, but that does not matter if we are ignoring that completely in order to just do the Spider Manifestation thing. We don't need to worry about finding colored mana if we are constantly untapping Spider Manifestation for that colored mana. Honestly, this is the kind of card that works really well in Eshki decks as well. Any deck that wants to spam out a lot of creatures and then discount their mana values at some point during the game is going to very much enjoy Spider Manifestation. Lady Octopus can give you some discounts on getting artifacts out as well, and Supportive Parents can turn an army of tokens into an army of mana dorks. It's a card I haven't seen people actually talk about, but I don't understand why, because this is an effect that we always really just gravitate towards whenever we see it in Commander. So why not just go ahead and have a really strong version of it, like right here. It's great. Fantastic. Then we have Superior Spider-Man, which can become a copy of anything in our grave, which is great for reanimation decks, and Prison Break, since reanimation decks really want you to be using looting and rummaging in order to put things in the grave to cheat out. The fact that this can be cast from the grave when we are looting and rummaging is just fantastic. Then we've got a lot of removal cards in this set that are good to pick up. Amazing Acrobatics is a cancel that can also tap creatures. Raven's Last Hunt is a mono-green removal spell that does not get cucked by somebody using removal against you. Rhino's Rampage is a removal spell that can also be used to blow up artifacts. Web Up is it's just an Oblivion Ring. This is just an Oblivion Ring. Every set has an Oblivion Ring, and this is the one of this set. I don't know what to tell you. Villainous Wrath lets us have a board wipe that also will burn a token player to death. Spider-Man 2099 can be used in order to gain damage whenever we cast large spells, and Death of Gwen Stacy can blow up creatures and then has added text afterwards that honestly you don't need to care about. Like, don't worry about any of that extra text. Like, it doesn't matter. It just matters that we paid 3 mana, we blew up a thing, and anything else is gravy. Except one thing. We can use this with cards that strip counters from cards in order to blow up a ton of cards by never getting to number 3. We just never get to number 3. We just constantly go back to number 1 and just blow up cards. Like, that's just a thing we can do with this card. It's pretty great. If you happen to want to play a Spider deck, then Mary Jane Watson and Spider-Ham are going to give you the support you need to make that deck work. Stax decks, Arachne and Spider-Woman, both allow us to slow our opponents down quite a bit. Thief decks are really going to like having Black Cat, Cunning Thief. Being able to look at more cards than Gonti, Lord of Luxury, is fine. It's really good, honestly. I'm just not thrilled that we are not power creeping Gonti, but certainly feature creeping Gonti. That's kind of what we're doing right here, just a little bit. Oh, and if you are wanting to play the Villains deck, which is mostly going to be a Dimir Villains deck, then you're going to want to pick up everything here. Vulture Screaming Scavenger gives the villains flying. Morbius is a villain with a very, very good set of abilities with flying, vigilance, and lifelink. Prowler Clawed Thief is also very good, being able to allow you to connive with your villains. Chameleon is a good villain, but also just a good clone in general, being able to cast itself from the grave with Mayhem. Doc Ock Sinister Scientist is, again, just another villain, but if you wanted to run Mono Blue Voltron with villains as a protection clause, then they do grant him hexproof. Swarm, the Being of Bees, he's kind of problematic if you look at his stories, but ignoring all that, he is a mayhem creature, which has a lot of different use cases because he has flash and mayhem, so we can use him as a blocker very quickly after throwing him away to a looting spell. Then we have Tombstone Career Criminal. We've seen this kind of effect a lot. There's a creature that gives everything a discount while also having an added effect. In this case, it's doing the same thing as Honest Rutstein. It's making our villains cost less, and then it's also letting us put villains from our grave into our hand. And then if we move on to Voltron cards, Alien Symbiosis is a repeatable way to throw menace onto a card. Hobgoblin Mantled Marauder is a commander that you can abuse horribly strongly. Like, it's got flying and haste, and every time you rummage or loot, you're gonna be able to just give it 2-0. That's an incredibly abusable card. Honestly, we might be building a deck with this. It seems very easy. Then we have Sun Spider, the Nimble Webber, in order to grab any equipment we need from a deck. Wraith, the Vicious Vigilante, a unblockable Azorius Double Striker. I don't know why you would bring this to a table. Everybody's just going to target you, but I'm willing to build a deck with it if you're willing to watch that video. Then we have With Great Power, which gives us the my favorite version of the Voltron ability, which is +2/+2 for everything that the deck is already doing. Doc Ock's Tentacles, which can auto-equip to any of our creatures with high enough mana value if you're playing a big creature like Cloud as your Voltron commander. The Bioorganic Carapace, which can give a creature 2/2 and the ability to draw cards, and anytime this equipment enters, it will automatically equip to a creature we control, which is good for solving one of the problems of equipment-based decks. Equip costs really do kind of suck, but then let's end on the lands. Honestly, Urban Retreat and Oscorp Industries, both of these lands are able to abuse what their respective side of things wants to do. I don't think Oscorp Industries is as good as the Urban Retreat. Urban Retreat allows us to just return a tapped creature to our hand in order to put this onto the battlefield. That's just a super powerful ability. Let us reuse ETBs in Bant, the color of blink spells. Yeah, absolutely. Then we have the Oscorp Industries. Like I said, this is the Grixis version of it, because Grixis is the color of villains in Magic. It's got Mayhem, so we can discard this with a looting or a rummaging spell, which is good because red is the color of rummaging and blue and black are the color of looting. So sure, we'll go ahead and throw this away and then immediately put it on the battlefield. Then we have Vibrant Cityscape, which may not seem very important on the surface, but I want to go ahead and show you that this thing right here is the 4th iteration that we have gotten of Terramorphic Expanse. It's Evolving Wilds. Again, it's the 4th one. Now we've got the Panoramas. Now we have Shire Terrace and Promising Vein. And then we have 4 different versions of Evolving Wilds. That means that the next deck I need to make has to be an updated Landfall deck. I have no choice. It has to be Landfall because we have so many versions of this effect now. There is no reason not to build a deck that just absolutely abuses every single one of these. For a budget deck to be able to keep up at the exact same rate for the most part as other decks by using effectively fetch lands and using as many as we fucking want, that's great. That's fantastic. We're gonna make Tatiova Redux tomorrow. That's the plan. So I hope you're ready for that because I am 100% ready for that. Anyway, that's it for everything in this set, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm gonna give my honest opinions about the set. I don't like this set. I don't like that we have so many legendary creatures. I don't like that we are stuck in Universes Beyond stuff, but since I cannot exist in a world that does not also include this Universes Beyond stuff, I think it's prudent for me to not give up, but at the very least recognize that talking about it is still something that we've got to do. Like, it's part of the game now. And since it's part of the game, we've got to grapple with it being here. So let's try to find stuff to love about it while also being here, because the only other option is quitting Magic the Gathering. And that's not what I want to do. So yeah, we're just not doing that. Nah. We're gonna talk about this stuff, and we're gonna be happy about it to a degree. I'm not super happy with slop sets, and this is kind of a sloppy set, but I don't know. It's still trading cards that we want to find cheap versions of putting in decks. And if you don't want to support Wizards of the Coast doing stuff like this, then I highly recommend you, instead of buying a box of this set, instead look at this price. For every card we talked about today, basically 70 cards, 69, that's $22.09. You could spend the equivalent of 3 booster packs of money, and you would be able to get every good budget card from this set all at once. And all you would have to do is use this channel sponsor, Manapool. All you have to do is go up here and then just click the buy a deck button if that's what you want to do. And then after you do so, since this is a sponsor of the channel, then use my code in the description. There's a link there. After you've built your cart, just go ahead and pay through that link. If you've not used Manapool before, then that will give you a discount of $5 on your first order. If you have used Manapool before, then just let me know in the comment section below, because honestly, you're really freaking awesome. Thank you for utilizing their service, and thank you very much for supporting this channel as you have done so. I greatly appreciate it. Y'all are literally allowing me to continue doing this as a job, and that's wonderful. Thank you so much to each and every one of you for doing that. That all said, let's go ahead and wrap things up, and yeah, that's pretty much everything here. Let me know if there's any commanders from this set you want me to specifically make a video on. Until then, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.